What is up, Impact Heroes? Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Rick Ornelas. Thank you for spending some time with us today because we know time's a valuable resource and we're going to make it worth your while. I appreciate each and every one of you, not just for listening, but for who you are. I know you're sparking change to make the world a better place every day, and I am humbled and grateful for your efforts. It takes all of us doing our part to spread positive change, and that's what this show is all about. Motivating you with stories of struggle, courage, and hope to empower you to make a difference in your life and the lives of others.
Are you interested in having Rick speak at your event or business? Here is what others have to say.
Did not know his story, and it was so inspirational, and his presence on stage, his authenticity was just incredible.
I absolutely loved his performance. It made me feel some type of way.
If you're looking for a speaker for your next event, hire Rick. I promise you this, you will not be disappointed.
Visit rickornelas.com to book him today.
Welcome back, Impact Heroes. I'm excited to be here for another episode where I will share some of the lessons I have learned along my journey. Part of sharing is because our stories connect us all, and also because I feel it's my duty to elaborate on what has helped me in the hope that it can help one of you. Today, we are going to discuss the power of a morning routine. Now, I know you hear a lot about morning routines from people all over social media and, TV, and, it's loaded with them, right? There's a bunch of, there's memes and people that make fun of that and, what it really means, and people that are like, it doesn't mean, it's a bunch of BS. So I'll be the first to tell you, I didn't always believe in the power of a morning routine and the benefits. It wasn't actually until 11 years ago when I started doing CrossFit in 2011 that my morning routine really began. Now, I had worked out most of my life, but it was then that I started working out consistently at 5:30 every day. Now, each morning I wake up about 5, I'd get to the gym by 5:15, I'd start stretching, I'd loosen up. And, it wasn't always easy. At first, it was a struggle to wake up consistently at 5 a.m. I remember running in, sometimes getting late, hitting snooze all the time, and until it became a habit, And having group accountability was an integral part in me getting there on time because I didn't want to do a penalty like burpees for being late. So after a while, it started to seed in. And, that was really the first part of my morning routine. We had a great crew. We'd work out every day at that 5:30. And that's really where I started to see the benefits of, hey, I can do this. I can be one of those people that wakes up early and, goes to the gym at the crack of dawn and, gets up early and accomplishes a lot in the day. Well, after a few years of doing CrossFit, I started adding new components to my routine. Like, prior to that, I wasn't eating breakfast. Then I'd come home and I started eating a healthy breakfast, right? But I had so many poor habits. Like back then, I would dive into my email first thing and I would let the day get away from me because I'd end up spending a bunch of time on email, and I'd do it either on the way and then I'd be late, or right after I'd sit there in my car and I'd start diving in emails, and then I'd get home late. And it was just a mess, right? It was frankly a mess. But it was somewhere around 2015 when I heard an interview with master brain coach Jim Kwik, and he was on Impact Theory with Tom Ballou. Now, this interview changed my life. Literally, it changed my life because Jim shared the importance of not using your phone first thing in the morning. He explained that doing things like going on social media or checking email or diving into your phone were surefire ways to give away your day to everyone else and to put your brain into a constant state of distraction. I remember him saying, you give away your sovereignty and your power. And I was like, I don't want to give my power away to anyone, right? I want to keep that throughout the day. What he shared, and you can look it up. We'll put the link in the show notes, but what he shared was so powerful that I literally quit cold turkey and immediately stopped looking at my phone until at least I had gotten home from the gym, from that early 5 a.m. class. So this was technically, maybe the first hour or so of the day. But since then, I have increased it to where I don't look at social media or email or any of that stuff for the first 2 to 3 hours of the day, that I keep my mind and my sanity free of any of those distractions. Now, what I did at that time is I replaced that what that habit with another habit, which is one of the keys to getting rid of a bad habit, is to replace it with another better habit. So what I did is I replaced it with reading, which I would do, while riding a bike, to warm up at the gym, or trying to multitask, or just read, just frankly, just read. But it was later that year, at the end of that year in December, when I started my own business, that I really dove into personal development. And I really started down, I had always been interested in personal development from the time I was entered the workforce, but I really dove into it head first. And now over the past 7 years, I continued to work on improving and becoming the best version of myself through, coaching programs and courses and reading and learning just as, much as I possibly can. So with that came adding new habits, new things to the morning routine. First, I started reading some daily scripture first thing. I would had various daily devotionals. First one my sister gave me, read that, would read one little passage every day. And then it increased to, just reading more and more because, I wanted to grow my faith. I wanted to increase my closeness with God. And that was one way to do it, was by reading those devotionals and those passages. Now, you fast forward another couple of years, maybe around 2018, and that's where things really escalated because I said, hey, I've always wanted to learn Spanish. I knew a little bit, but wasn't fluent by any means, and said, I'm going to start using this app, Duolingo. And again, we'll put these links in the show notes. And so I started using that early in the day, most of the time when I would eat breakfast, but I started using the Duolingo. I'm currently on a streak of 1,214 days, which doesn't even take me back to the beginning because I didn't have a streak when I first started using it because, again, you have to develop that habit. But I'm going to continue on as long as I can. I don't see any reason to stop that streak. And, there'll be one day soon where I will be very comfortable, habla español. So soon after, at the recommendation of one of my mentors, I added gratitude journaling. Now, he recommended this because gratitude journaling primes your mind and puts it into a state of appreciation. So now I journal 5 things each morning that I am grateful for to put my mind in that state of appreciation and allow me to look for more things to be grateful for throughout the day. So I love the gratitude journaling. Yes, I do use my phone for it. I use the gratitude app, but again, I don't dive into anything that I shouldn't on my phone. I'll go in, I'll read the Bible app, read this daily scripture, open the gratitude app, read the daily gratitude, enter my gratitude, and that's it. Next thing I added was, I said, hey, if I'm going to journal and do gratitude journaling, then I had always wanted to journal about my day, right? So I started adding a daily journal of, what transpires throughout the day. Now, not all of this is done in the morning, obviously, but, I'll put a little bit in the morning, I'll go back and forth and write some throughout the day and some at the end of the day. And it's just a great way to, know where your focus is, know what you're working on, know what's important. And, perhaps on another episode, I'll share, kind of my strategy for journaling. But so again, we're now a few years in, right? I've added a couple things. I'm reading the scripture. I'm doing the Duolingo. I'm doing the journaling and the gratitude. Well, in 2020, knowing that my 25th anniversary was approaching the following year in 2021, my 25th wedding anniversary with my beautiful wife, Tanya, I wanted to give her something special. And I had been down this path of journaling gratitude and appreciation and everything. And so I started journaling each day, one thing that I loved about her, one way that I loved Tanya. Now, this was a wonderful practice that I highly recommend to anyone because after doing that for a year, I was able to create a book that I gave to her on our anniversary in the middle of 2021 on June 1st of 2021, a book entitled 365 Ways that I Love You. And, she was so moved, said it was the best gift that she had ever received. But more importantly for me was what it had done for me and how much it had shown me the appreciation and the love that I have for her, and how much it had deepened my love for her, over that year period. So much so that I decided to continue on, through the rest of 2021, and even at the beginning of this year, I switched over and switched it from love to gratitude, ways that I'm grateful for her each day. And if she's listening, that's not a secret, but maybe I'll give that to her, at some point in time. And in the past few years, adding these different things, I haven't added them for some weird goal or anything. I've added them just because I've seen value in adding each and every one of them. Now, reading the Bible was something, I was reading those daily scriptures, those daily devotionals, but reading the entire Bible was something that had always been a goal of mine, and I never thought I had time. And then a friend recommended doing the Bible in a year, where you're just reading a tiny little bit, every day. And I said, hey, if I'm going to read these other things, why not, read that? So I started, at the suggestion of a friend, I started using the Read Scripture app, and they have a great daily plan that you just read a few minutes. It's like 10 or 15 minutes per day. And, now I'm 10 months in and just a couple months away from completion. And it was a very, seamless and easy way to read through the Bible. And, I've gotten the benefits of increasing my faith, increasing my knowledge of Scripture. And I highly recommend that. So we're doing the gratitude, the Scripture, the journaling, the exercise. What's left? Well, as I said, I was going down a big path of personal development. In late 2021, a friend of mine had shared how beneficial meditation was for him, how much it had improved his focus, how much it had improved his life. And he recommended I read the book, Stress Less, Accomplish More by Emily Fletcher. Now, I had always figured I could not meditate because I could never quiet my mind. My mind is always on, is always thinking. But after reading the book, I realized that practicing, the technique that she teaches, Ziva meditation, that is possible for me. So now I practice Ziva meditation twice a day for about 20 minutes, first thing in the morning, soon after waking, and then again in the late afternoon. And I say this has been a game changer for me. I mean, it's improved my sleep, my focus, just my overall well-being. I highly recommend this practice to anyone. That when it's all said and done, a few years from now, that may be the single biggest part of my morning routine that has the most power. So some of you may be wondering, these are a lot of things that I do, right? But some of you may be wondering, okay, what about the rest of the, components like the nutrition? So as far as nutrition goes, I begin my day by juicing 16 ounces of celery that I drink first thing, right after I wake up. I also, take a handful of vitamins and supplements to keep me healthy. You can do some research on the benefits of drinking fresh celery juice. It is a laundry list. I guarantee you will see a laundry list of benefits. I've done that for probably about 5 years now. And another game changer in terms of your health, just your overall health, your skin, everything is just far better by doing the celery juice. That's the nutrition. Obviously, I work out. When I come back, nutritious breakfast that typically consists of something like egg whites, turkey, bacon, spinach, yogurt, banana, something like that. But again, that's an important part of kicking off your day to feed your brain. Some of those strong brain foods like blueberries and avocados, things like that. Now, it is important to note that some of these I do twice a day. So reading scripture, gratitude journaling, doing the daily journal. I do all those in the morning and at night before I go to bed. I also set 3 goals for the following day before going to bed. I make sure that those are set. And that's just so I'm ready to tackle the next day so that it doesn't require any thinking. I can go through everything. I can dive right into my day and get a ton accomplished the next day. So I think it's important, I've covered a lot, right? And I think it's also important to understand that you don't need to add all of these at once or try to do too much, because that's just going to set yourself up for failure. So maybe try adding one at a time, and just don't expect to be perfect. Just know that over time, any of these will compound into great success for you. I've written a couple articles. We'll put the links in the show notes on some of these morning routines and the power and, benefits of not hitting snooze, for example, and things like that. So that'll all be in the show notes. You can check those out if you like, but that's it. I mean, that's my entire morning routine broken down for you, just because many have asked about it. And so I thought I would share. I share this in the hopes that, something resonated with you, something will have an impact on you the way it has for me. For a more in-depth look at my routine, you can check out, we got a recent Instagram reel on our social media that shares, what this routine looks like in practice. If you're a visual person and you want to see what all this looks like, juicing the celery or, working out or whatever. And if you're looking to surround yourself with others that can have a positive impact on you to help you improve, then I urge you to check out our Level Up membership community. Again, there'll be details in the show notes below. Because the more you upgrade your life, the more you try these things and you become a better version of yourself, the more you need to surround yourself with people who will support you and help you grow. So check that out. And as you've heard me say before, it's our stories that connect us all. I'd love to learn more about you and your story in the Level Up community or, on social media. Feel free to DM me. Share your morning routine. Share what works for you. I'd love to hear what works for you and hear some different routines from some of you out there in the community. So as always, thank you for taking your time today to listen to our show. We know you have a lot of options and we are very humble and grateful that you choose to listen to the iSpark Change podcast. Thank you also for letting me share my heart with all of you, and we'll see you next time. God bless you all.
Remember, Impact Heroes, every positive action can be a spark moment that has a ripple effect that spreads far beyond the initial act. So go out there and spark change. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this episode, then please smash that 5-star rating on iTunes or Spotify and leave a review. We value your comments and we want to hear from you in the community. Thank you for listening. God bless you, and we'll see you next week on the iSpark Change podcast.